Okay, good
Hello.
sir. Welcome. Welcome.
Happy Friday. Happy Black Friday.
Happy Black Friday. You're wearing a black shirt for Black Friday.
We got it on. You remember when it was absolute pandemonium, people lining up and like barraging people over the head just to get.
Is it not like that anymore?
I don't think so, man. I think people, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Amazon Prime Day. I think that's all. I mean, I never participated in any of that hoopla, but yeah, I think that's gone away with the past.
Well,
That
we'll know
was
soon enough by turning on CNN or MS or just going on to X and looking and seeing all the crazy people. And but the thing is, I never witnessed anything like that. Not
yeah,
personally. I've seen it on
personally,
the news,
right?
and I remember my sister-in-law was visiting, and we have Black Friday. They don't have that in Canada. And I remember, oh, dude, this was years ago. This is when I was in Utah, and she wanted to get like a 55-inch TV, and at the time those were expensive. Now
Right.
you can get them at like Walmart for like $500, but it was like a really great deal, and they went and stood in line, and that's like my only experience with Black Friday.
I just remember like watching videos of people just trampling each other. Good gosh, man, that's I funny thing you mentioned TVs, $500. I pulled up yesterday because I was gonna get something for my brother. I saw a 50-inch TV for $169 on Amazon, and it's just I remember when they first came out. I want to say I paid probably like 2 3 grand for. I mean, it was bigger. It was like 72-inch or something like that, but it was still
Yeah,
it's remarkable how much they've been able to bring costs down on those.
yeah, they've come down quite a bit. So on our last video, we were getting into the topic of virtual assistants.
Hmm.
And I would have to say that you're the expert at, I mean, compared to the two of us, but even I think for a lot of people, they hear the term VA,
Hmm.
not Veterans Administration, but VA is in virtual assistants. And if I remember correctly, last Friday, you said that you have like eight. Is that correct?
Internally on like support side of things, I've gone through like ebbs and flows of remote team members, VAs type folks. I think I like at my peak during COVID, I want to say probably had like 40, 50 um, spread across a couple different divisions, but yeah, I've been through many different iterations of hiring, training, all that good stuff. But you had a pretty solid setup too for a good amount of time. I mean, you're the systems master when it comes to structuring things and onboarding. I know you had a pretty solid system there on your end too.
Well, and I want to tie into that and what I'm doing now, and the whole purpose of tying into your conversation or talking to you about virtual
Yeah,
assistants is because I'm going back down that path.
right.
And that was, I mean, last time I had a virtual assistant was, I don't know, maybe 3 years ago. Two. I mean, I held on to him for a minute after I left being an operator, but now I'm going back down that path from a content. What I'm finding is artificial intelligence is fantastic. It's allowing me to really do a lot of things faster, more
Yeah,
efficient. But I'm also finding that even with Zapier or Make.com, it's not automating everything. I had this idea, and this was probably about, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks ago, that I'm like, cool, I'm going to create content. I'm going to throw my my content into a folder and I'm going to build out this workflow where it just automatically just does all this
Right.
stuff because AI is supposed to do it. No, it's not. No, it is.
You could probably figure it out if you dedicated like a good solid like week towards like, you know, different connecting different tools and stuff. But yeah, no, it's they're still human in the loop, I like to call it.
Well, each one of the tools, like Descript
Hmm.
has AI tools built into it. They have studio sound. They can eliminate filler words. They can eliminate word gaps. That's really great. That by just by that, that is increased efficiencies like, I don't know, tenfold. Then
Right.
you have Opus Clip, and that just creates 30 to 60-second short form videos. That's good enough. You know, I've talked about that before. But what
Right.
it doesn't do is when you're taking that video, like this video, or like my Semper Ruck videos. My Semper Ruck videos, I'm always I for every ruck, and I'm gonna do one after this, but I'm creating like 9 smaller videos that have to come together, and then I have to
Hmm.
go through and edit the long form, because what I'm finding is that if you don't do that, if a human doesn't do that, me, now I think that a system, I can create that and I can off source that onto a producer. That's gonna come after we talk about this. I'm
Yeah.
gonna come back to that one. But there still needs to be that reasoning, that logic, that experience, and knowing how
Right.
things flow. Because I don't think AI's I don't think AI's there yet.
Not
So
there yet.
no, but um, so I wanted to talk to you about VAs. I didn't know you had 40, 50. I don't like. I probably did know. You probably told me that before. But I mean, that's now I knew that you had a lot of employees, like real employees, real salespeople back in the great financial crisis
Right.
when you went into mortgage assistance. But I didn't know you had that many VAs. How did you hire all of those guys? How did you screen them?
There many different iterations. Ultimately, I ended up coming down to a direct ad campaign, almost to like a webinar framework, where it was running paid ads to specific countries or regions, inviting them to a group webinar structure, doing a basically just a full-on webinar sales pitch, and then having them move into filling out like a more long form application, and then from there being screened by a VA that has, you know, that was promoted throughout time and then onboarded through there. So a lot of internal training built out to help onboard those folks, but that was ultimately like kind of like my final version of recruiting, hiring, training, for virtual assistants. I mean, there's a lot of good like services out there, but it was just something that was, you know, I could target and iterate more and more just to have a consistent, predictable flow of folks coming in. And that was mostly geared towards like hiring for on sales sides of things, technical support type stuff. There's pretty good sources to get people from, so that was kind of like a different process, but ultimately for sales, that was my final version of the sourcing.
Now, do you have any? I know that you have Americans working for you, but they live abroad. But do you have anyone on your team working remote that's actually stateside that lives in the States?
um no, we're completely, I want to say I'm the only person.
And you
We
don't
have
count.
like,
You count, but
yeah,
you don't
and I
count.
don't count. And then I mean, I guess I mean, we have some like more like affiliate type people who like lenders and stuff that do things, but not anybody on. physical payroll, all that good stuff.
Okay. Now, do you have any of your clients? I know you work a lot with mortgage professionals. I think your secondary group would probably be going into more real estate and then
Yeah.
salespeople. Do you have any of them that you've walked through and they've hired virtual assistants?
Um, like where we've trained people or like given them guidance on how to do it themselves,
Well, I guess I'm just
or do they
really,
just have their own team? Like folks that I work with have their own stuff.
yeah. As I go through and I speak to real estate
Yeah.
agents, I don't speak to mortgage professionals, but as I go through and I speak with real estate agents, and I don't really come up with a topic of
Yeah.
virtual assistants. But the thing is with the virtual assistants, the benefits are the currency exchange. Like
Yeah.
last week, you had said that on average, you're paying your virtual assistants on the back end admin side about $4 or $5 per hour. Well, some people might balk at that, thinking that you're, I don't know, like paying, it's like a sweat house, or what do they call those? Those
Yeah.
uh,
Sweatshop.
sweatshops.
Yeah.
But what they don't understand is the cost of living in these countries versus the cost of living here, and the way it translates. Whereas $4 or $5 an hour in the
Yeah.
Philippines is like a mid to upper mid actual wage
Yeah.
for those that live in the Philippines. Now, not here by any means, but in the Philippines. So you're taking advantage of that. But I haven't come across many or any real estate agents that are actually actively. That's not true. There's one real estate company that I know of who has a sales force. They do outsource. So I guess as I'm thinking through and I'm talking out loud, I do know of some people that actually have built in administrators on the back end. But independent agents, like, you have artificial intelligence, which is great. Now, if you add virtual assistant on top of that, that's a human that you could train into a certain process to use AI,
Yeah.
that just is really a combination for growth. So I guess what
Yeah.
I'm coming at is, do you know many that you're working with that actually have implemented virtual assistants into their processes?
Yeah, I would say the majority of folks that have any semblance of like a business, which it all almost all have at least access to some sort of remote team members. Um, you cannot grow a business without people. It's just period, full stop. You could be a solo agent and you're only going to go so far with that. Like
Yeah.
you just don't have the bandwidth to be able to um do what you need to do at the end of the day.
Now
So yeah.
so when I was the operator, when I had my virtual assistants, I had two appointment setters. So these
Hmm.
were my outbound salespeople, if you will. Not really salespeople, although they were selling them on the appointment to come and meet with me.
That's it. That's 100% sales.
That's 100% sales.
It's
But
100% sales.
the difference was, and we talked about this a week or two ago, was I had that video that everyone had to watch, and that changed my conversion ratios. It reduced the number of appointments that I had, but
Yeah.
the appointments that did show up, I mean, they were like 9 out of 10,
Right.
like they're
Lay
going to
down,
show up.
ready to
I
rock.
think that was last week, the value stacking. I also had a back end op. That person also was an auditor, audited all the transaction files. So she
Hmm.
came from the default industry. And if there's anything about the mortgage default industry, as we went through it, they were hiring, a lot of companies were hiring from the Philippines. So you have a lot of these processors that understand how to audit files. So I was able to find one of those, bring them on board, but I also had them do other administrative tasks in addition to that. So I eliminated payroll. Oh my gosh. I bet you I added an extra easily $100,000 to payroll,
Hmm.
savings to
Yeah.
payroll by outsourcing to an independent contractor in the Philippines.
Yeah. The it's hard. It's hard to not look at something like that. Where these folks, they show up like they're grateful, they are almost always, there's never I'm it's like they feel guilty like when they get sick and stuff. It's like, I'm so sorry, I didn't want to say anything, like I have 101 fever. Like I literally had somebody last week saying that. I'm like, it's okay to be sick, like please don't try to like force yourself through work if you're like have malaria and you're keeling over. Like it's so yeah, there's it as much as the math is just really hard to compete with at the end of the day. But I like what you said about the AI, the virtual assistant. When COVID, or when AI really uh, came to the scene, like I went full on. I made like a whole training section for my team, my internal team, and then started pumping people in there. I called it AVA, AIVA.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So it was like, okay, like I can just, if I can just train some of these virtual assistants on some of these basic tasks, like this, the output would just absolutely explode. And it was like, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I have like screenshots of it, originally where we sat down, we did like a power day with my internal team. Like the next day, I had one virtual assistant pump out 6 blog posts that were like high quality. And I was like dumbfounded. I was like, oh my God, like this is completely changed the game here. So
So I think here's
yeah,
the key thing, that what you just said is that you created a system. I think even though there's a value and a purpose for real estate agents, mortgage professionals, or any entrepreneur, or pretty much any business they could outsource overseas, you need to have a system. And one of the biggest mistakes I find with real estate agents when they hire their first assistant, doesn't matter if it's someone stateside, it doesn't matter if it's someone remote. It's probably more important to have a system when someone's remote because they can't just sit there in the
yeah,
office and look over your shoulder. But if you don't have a system, they hire someone and they automatically think that this is going to give them time back in their day. But yet, if you don't create those systems and you hire someone, what's going to happen is it's going to create more time needed to invest. And then you get bitter and you get angry, and then you end up firing the person, blaming them that they didn't do their job, but yet you didn't really focus and
right.
provide them a system. So I think that's the big thing, is writing out a system. And I remember when you did that and you shared with that. We've done like 109 episodes. Like,
That's awesome.
I know that because I'm going through
That's
and
on the back.
organizing everything. We were
That's super.
horrible in the beginning too.
Yeah. Well, just like anything, man. Iteration of things. The I think you really hit the nail on the head, like with like the training, the systems. Some of the things that I've found, like, and this is probably some really practical things for folks that are um, setting expectations for the people that you're bringing on, having very clear tasks, like I want you to do this and this is how you do this. Like screen record, you can get Loom for free, record yourself doing a task. You can provide that video to the person so they can watch that over and over and train, they can ask questions on it. um, but yeah, so many, like a lot of times with folks like real estate lenders, they bring somebody on and almost kind of like expect them to have like the knowledge of what they have, that they're like, well, why, why aren't they doing this? Well, if you didn't specifically tell them, hey, you need to do this, this, and this, like they're not mind readers, but they're amazing at being able to like follow directions. For the most part, I should say, follow directions, like, give them some checklists, give them some specific tasks. Daily accountability is good. Hey, what are your goals for the day? And then at the end of the day, wrap up what you got accomplished type thing. So
This topic really came up because we were talking about it last week. But when I remember, and I actually went through my old files and I found the system that I created in order to screen through and make it efficient to hire the agents from, or the virtual assistants from the Philippines. And I remember is you told me about onlinejobs.ph, and that was that's still a great resource. Actually, let me pause there. Do you still hire a lot from the Philippines, or do you have any other VAs from different countries? Have you found better from other countries? I know Pakistan, India, Philippines.
it depends on the role. So kind of my makeup breakdown of that is like any type of like client facing general support. Philippines is really great. Eastern European for like a little bit higher like tech skilled labor type stuff is a great little pocket pool for talent there. I have leaned almost predominantly towards Central South America for sales. Um, I think being in the same time zone is there's a huge value add there for connecting and communicating, and then and there's just a lot of like expat people too, for like and maybe they're like native born Mexico, South America, grew up in the States and then moved back, type of deal. So you can get some really solid some people that way. But for like hiring, like Online Jobs PH is still a great resource. I probably don't use it as much as I should, but I have found also like if there's a specific job or task you want doing, like for example in your particular case, like um, you know somebody with video editing like automation skills, like Facebook groups, like there's gigantic Facebook groups specifically for virtual assistants with for XYZ job role. And those can be great sources of tapping into people who are already have like the base skills, they're interested in it, maybe they have some sort of aptitude towards that, uh, that as well. So those are great. So if like, hey, I want somebody who's really interested in loves editing videos, great. Like hiring specifically for that particular role for somebody who's got those skill sets or experience already.
That's really great advice. I hope people are writing that down. When I was so going back onto what I was sharing before I took us off that tangent, when I was hiring for those two appointment setters, the big thing for me is I needed to make sure that they didn't have a strong accent, that people could actually understand them. Now, it was interesting to find out that a lot of the people you talk to in California have really thick accents too. So maybe I over exaggerated that need. So I actually created an online job post. In order to apply for the job, they had to fill out my form, which shares their name, a lot of the details. But then a part of that is I had a predefined script, the script that they would be using. They had to record themselves, upload that with their resume. And that's what mattered to me. So I listened to each one of them. And if they're thick accent, now here's the other thing I learned is that some people thought that not having a strong accent, that they didn't have I mean, either A, they just threw the application against the wall and just wanted to see if it would stick and that we would reach out to them, or they genuinely thought that they didn't have an accent. It was bad, but I did get this one guy who tried to renegotiate the compensation, and gosh, I can't remember the exact thing that he had said, but he was texting me and such, and he goes that he wanted, like, I was offering like $4 or $5 an hour, and he's like, no, it's like $15 an hour. I'm like, well, that's not going to work. I'm hiring for $4 or $5 an hour. He's like, well, that's lower than what you would typically pay in the US. I'm like, yeah, but you're not located in the US. I'm like, the reason why I'm outsourcing is because of that.
Like, I have 26 job applicants right now that have all.
You're not an engineer.
Right. I have a few virtual assistants in the Philippines, like in that pay range, so like the $15+
Yeah, but what would they be if
hour.
they were stateside for their skill set?
Well, I mean that same person would probably be a 150, 200K a year person. I mean,
and when you convert the cost of living for that $15, $20 an hour, they're living pretty good.
Amazing. Like buying homes, having in-house help for their stay-at-home wife. Like, it's, I mean, very top of the totem pole income, for the Philippines. 40,000, like upper middle class is like starts there at like 40,000, whatever their I always forget the name of their currency, but it's about 40,000, which is like, I want to say it's probably like $500 a month, like US.
Yeah. Well, that's what my sister-in-law pays her live-in nanny, who works 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. She pays her like $600 a month US. Now, room and board goes with that, but she sends a lot. But from what I understand, they have like a coconut farm and their house is paid off, and she's put all her kids through school. So, but anyways, the reason why I bring this up is, number one, I think everybody should actually have a virtual assistant, if for nothing else, as a personal assistant. They can help with that, because AI is not there yet. There's no doubt that in the next 10, 15, 20 years, especially with the advances of what Elon Musk is doing with Optimus, I think that it's not going to happen overnight. So I think there's a great resource there.
Right.
I believe, and this is a military term that, a lot of my terms come from the military, is 2 is 1, 1 is none. You always need to have a backup. There's no number worse, and this is a Dan Kennedy quote, there's no number worse in business than the number 1. Because if you lose one person, now you're screwed. So the reason why I had two appointment setters, the reason why I had 2 appointment setters is because if one of them didn't show up, or I had to replace one, I still had the other one. And so I was always making sure I had a redundancy built in. Now, I'm not going to do that now. So what I'm doing right now is I'm doing a lot of content creation. I'm mapping out systems for my YouTube channel and Semper Ruck. I've gone through and I've cleaned up a lot of my digital profiles. So if you Google Brett Matsur, I show up all over the place. It's really clean. It's the whole imagery is tied together. But through the editing, I now have to, like this video is not going live right now. I've had a ton of conversations with both Grok and ChatGPT, acting and modeling as a digital expert. And it has suggested that, no, you don't want to go live, not for what I'm doing anyways. There's a benefit to it, but not for what I'm doing. And so we're recording this. Once we're done recording this, it goes right into Descript. It's going to transcribe itself. So I'm building out this process that ultimately I'm going to have this VA come over as an assistant, just a general VA that can just follow instructions and have, they don't have to, you don't need somebody who's an expert in Photoshop and Final Cut Pro, and you don't need that anymore. So that's the other thing with these technology. I mean, you look at Canva. I'm surprised Photoshop, the reason why Photoshop is so cheap now, it's like, I don't know, $18 a month, $12 a month for a student, something like that. The reason why they're so cheap is because, remember when that was like $1,000 for the program?
Right.
Now,
they're like, oh wait,
Canva AI
subscribers.
Canva AI is just awesome. Like you got Descript, you have Opus Clip, you have Canva AI, you have ChatGPT.
You know what you need to check out? Notebook or jump on Notebook.
.xl
LLM. Yeah. And they have just came out with like presentations and infographics, and they're amazing.
Really?
Like you can take, I'll do a demo. I'll take this video, I'll throw it into there, and I'll make a presentation from this, and I'll fire it over to you. You'll shit your pants.
Really?
Yeah. Like literally just take this video, drop it in there, and a 50 slide presentation. Just chef's kiss.
Gonna have to check that out.
Yeah.
So anyway, this video was about virtual assistants.
Some good stuff.
A lot of good stuff. I think that if anyone takes anything away from this, they should really consider doing that. And would you say that if anyone would to get started, onlinejobs.ph is still probably the best place to go?
That is good. There's for real estate agents, mortgage folks, though, I would probably go directly to a VA staffing company that specifically focuses on the industry, because they'll come pre-trained in like 95% of like business processes. It's going to be applicable to them. Justin Nelson from Sphere Rocket's a solid dude. He's been in the business for a while. Unpaid plug. But yeah, I would probably go that route though, because you're going to pay a little bit more, but the training and like they're going to already be so far ahead where it's going to cut down on the effort to get them up to speed.
Yeah, so that's just going to be like any other. I guess it really comes down to what you want to do. If you want somebody who's untrained and you're willing to train them up and you have a system in place, by all means, try to go through onlinejobs.ph. But if you don't, which probably the majority of real estate agents, mortgage brokers, they don't have the time, they don't have the background, they don't have the experience, they want someone a little bit more turnkey, then go through a service. It's like it would be something similar to like a local temp service here, I don't know, locally in stateside, but just catering to the virtual assistants. Yeah. You're going to pay more, but you don't have to put as much time, effort, and resources into it.
Yep.
Okay. Well, look, we're at time. We're actually beyond time. So, Luke, it's always
rock and roll.
A pleasure. I will catch you next week.